As many of you know, I shoot Nikon primarily. If you've been watching me for a while though, you know that I'm also eager to go out and shoot with this Canon, or this Canon. And other than these two brands, you won't find many others here in my work area, except maybe for Apple. And they have cameras too, just in my phone and other devices. Something that a lot of you have been noticing is the improvements from year to year on Nikon and Canon cameras. While these improvements can make life easier, like when shooting in low light or fast action, fundamentally, this 10-year-old D2 series camera has many of the same controls and capabilities of the D4 and the upcoming D4S. Don't get me wrong though, if I could trade this camera in for one of the latest and greatest without spending an arm and a leg, I would. The last several years have brought us advanced video capabilities in DSLRs, better high ISO capability, and focus tracking and frames per second capability that is faster than ever. In those few areas, things have been improving and will likely to continue to improve. Recently, several Nikon executives were interviewed about their current state and the future of some of their camera lines, like compacts, DSLRs, and mirrorless. I've put a link to the interview with the Nikon executives in the description of this video. But based upon what I've read, they're either playing their cards pretty close or they don't have anything particularly innovative coming. That concerns me a bit because if you want to be in the top two, you have to be a leader. As consumers in this digital age, we've grown impatient, maybe too impatient, but nevertheless, we always want to see companies moving forward. I love evolution, and I'm confident that Nikon will be able to continue evolving. But have we forgotten about revolution? My answer to that is maybe. Let's talk about revolution. It was just 10 to 12 years ago when the digital SLR concept became practical. There were earlier DSLR solutions for news photographers, but the solutions were cumbersome and not really consumer friendly. With early consumer DSLRs, control schemes weren't very efficient or practical compared to the relatively seamless operation we have today. In short, the difference between 1994 and 2004 is staggering in terms of digital imaging capability in the hands of the consumer. And if we compare, say, 1999 to 2009, the difference is almost unbelievable. But what if we talk just 2004 to 2014, just focusing on Nikon and Canon for a moment? During that time, DSLRs evolved to first support live view, then video. For some, this is revolutionary. For other folks, like me, I really don't reach for that video button too often, at least not on my DSLRs. I know some of you will slam me for this next statement, but many of the things that I do on this old D70 here are the same as I do on my D800. Actually, in many circumstances, the images turn out much the same, with high quality. Yes, I'm fully aware that this is a 36 megapixel camera while this is 6, but I found that improvements in my ability and creativity far transcend the difference between this and this. While Nikon and Canon have been taking this proven formula and evolving it, companies like Sony, Olympus, and even Pentax have been trying to reinvent certain concepts and maybe start their own revolution. Sony seems to be out front on innovation. They're not hesitant to bring new technologies to the table to see what works best for their customers. Their goal seems to be to give you more capabilities than Nikon and Canon, but make it easy enough to tame the beast and use the new capabilities to help your photography without overburdening you with complicated controls. Olympus and Panasonic with Micro Four Thirds have proven that sensor size isn't everything. Pentax is giving us DSLR bodies that are okay for water and other harsh conditions, while also not being afraid to bring us the smallest interchangeable lens system on the market. Now, I'm living proof that there is a certain level of confidence that I have with my big Nikon when I'm out at a national park or shooting an event. I know the system and the features, and it has been extremely reliable for me. I also know, however, that in 2024, the vendors who aren't afraid to innovate are going to be the ones selling the most cameras, which means they may well have the most money and staff to continue to innovate. Those vendors who don't get on the bullet train of revolution, they may find themselves in some financial trouble. In fact, I get many more emails from folks looking to switch from Nikon and Canon versus those looking to switch to Nikon and Canon. So what am I doing for me? I'm continuing to shoot with this Nikon and this one and these and those back there. But I also know historically that the vendors willing to take chances and try to get out front, they sometimes get there. And I also know that when you are one of the vendors out front, there's a long way to fall. As always, I'm keeping an eye on things, trying other brands when I have the opportunity, and of course, I talk to you about it when I think I have an idea of where things are heading. In the meantime, I tip my hat to brands like Sony, Olympus, Pentax, and maybe even Sigma for pushing the envelope, often succeeding, sometimes failing, but usually benefiting us, the consumers, in the process. Here's your chance in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Will Nikon and Canon continue global camera domination from amateur through professional ranks? Or will the real innovators stand up and move the others out of the way?